Sausage.
Hello, everyone. This is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Marcus Nez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This is the continuation of my playthrough of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I am about 20 hours deeper into the game, putting me at roughly 35 to 40 hours so far in the game, and I am having a miserable time with it. My stubbornness is working overtime this go around because I should have stopped playing this game 30 hours ago. It's an incredibly frustrating experience. I don't know how much new ground I'll be hitting here in this episode, as not as opposed to the last episode, but in addition to the last episode. I don't know how much new stuff there is to say because it's just a relative continuation, doing the same things. There are new story points, story beats to hit upon, but I am pretty checked out on the story, even though I think it is relatively well done and well told, and I like the world. But every time I start to like this game, the combat creeps up behind me and whispers in my ear ever so softly, "Hey, remember me? Hi, I'm still here. I, I know you probably forgot me, but I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. And you have to engage with me right now, or you can't progress any further. It's you and me, baby. Let's do this." And it fucking sucks so much. I hate the combat system in this game, and I hate the lockpicking system. I don't remember the last time I played a game that I feel so horribly balances its world building, its story, its characters with and balance is not the right term, but just the yin and yang, the contrast, the battle between the good in the world building, the story and all that, and the bad, which is a lot of the game mechanically. Combat is horrendous. Lockpicking, I don't like at all. The general movement and navigation in the world is incredibly frustrating. Trying to jump over little things, trying to just pick yourself off a tiny little lip in a creek or something. It drives me nuts. Using the horse is just fucking get away from me, horse. Pebbles, you're a piece of crap, all right? But the combat specifically is just driving me fucking insane. And every time the game forces me to engage with it, I want to die. I had to fight, what is it, Runt, the dude who beat you down and stole your father's sword at the beginning of the game. And I spent, I think, an hour and a half trying to get through that fight at the top of the steeple. I first tried doing it when I was fairly weakened. So I had very little health and I was bleeding going into it. So I bandaged myself up every time the autosave reloaded and ate some food, ate some of the marigold concoction or whatever it's called that gives you 30 health. And that didn't work out. So I reloaded an earlier save, got back to that point with full health and still struggled quite a bit. It's just a nightmare. When facing off against a single opponent, it at least has some semblance of strategy and ability to take your time and see what your opponent is going to do and try and combat them with your skill or lack thereof in my case. But I feel like even then there are parts of the combat that just make it less satisfying than it should be. The perfect parry, perfect block feels pointless, feels worthless because I swear to God, I've hit it many times, unless I'm wrong, but when the green shield icon shows up in the center of the cursor, if your cursor for that showcases your slashing strikes, your attacks, and the directional way you are going to attack, when that shows up there and you block at the right time, time slows down and you're able to attack after that. And what I gathered from reading the combat tutorial section of the codex, whatever you want to call it, was that the only way an opponent can block an attack following a perfect block is if they also perfect block. And if that is the case, if I was actually perfect blocking, if the slowing down of time was an indicator that I perfectly blocked, then the opponents I'm facing off are all also experts at perfect blocking. Because there are many times where they would counter my counter and then attack me, and then I would counter them again and attack them, but they would dodge out of the way or they would just not get hit. Every single fucking time I try to sneak up on an enemy and then get a few early swipes in on them in story sections that I know I'll have to engage in combat when I am going after the counterfeiters with Ulrich. I try to sneak up behind one of the more difficult opponents. Anyone who has a shield is going to be a bigger pain in the ass than someone who doesn't. The game just doesn't do anything. The attacks don't register. I don't understand what is going on. I'm swiping at this enemy. I got my sword out. I'm swiping. I'm right behind them. I could basically hug them, but nothing. The sword makes no contact, registers no attacks, no hits. And then they notice me, pull out their sword and shield, and now we can actually fight and I can attack them, but now they can block me perfectly. And it's just this hellhole. But the real issue with combat is that anytime you throw in more than one opponent or throw at you more than one opponent at a time, it's a fucking hellhole nightmare. I'm pretty sure I talked about this last episode, but it is just the continuation of my frustrations, the bane of my existence, what really kills the game for me. Because when multiple enemies are attacking you, the camera one just loses its mind because you are locked on during combat to a singular enemy, and other enemies could be attacking you from the side. You don't have any kind of frame of reference of where they are, no on-screen indicators of there's somebody at your left, someone at your right, there's someone behind you. There's nothing. So you don't know where everyone else is. You can't disengage, to my knowledge. I tried. I fucking pressed every goddamn button on the controller. You can't disengage the lock-on system, which is also frustrating because, one, I think in multi-opponent encounters, not having the lock-on system would be to your advantage and allow you to better gauge your surroundings and deal with the enemies. And just being able to disengage and engage it at your will would be good. But also, maybe I want to run away. And there are some instances where I tried running away from a fight where I didn't want to deal with it, whether it be getting ambushed by a group of bandits. There was a time where I was going through this forest, following a trail to lead to some story thing, and I got ambushed by 3 or 4 bandits, and I just wanted to run away. I wanted to run away, but all I could do was lock on and stare at one of the opponents or another opponent, and I couldn't get away. And that frustrated the hell out of me. I had to load a save from like 10 minutes earlier and get back to where I was. And then lo and behold, those bandits weren't there anymore. So whoop-de freaking do. But the combat is just so unbelievably frustrating. And the game far too often puts you into scenarios where you have to engage with it. I wish there was something in this game that allowed you to, if you put enough skill points and work your speech skill up high enough, you can get out of every combat scenario or something. Even ones that are, hey, not Bernard, what is his name? Ragnarok. The dude with the mustache you made the sword for, who your father made the sword for. I wish there were many instances where he says, "Okay, we're gonna have to attack this settlement, this camp." I wish you could convince him if your speech skill is high enough, though. Of course, him being of a higher rank, he's gonna out probably skill check you in every single one of those 3 skills, so it probably wouldn't even matter. But being able to talk your way out of not being a part of the siege. But the combat has, at this point, I don't think I was quite there last episode. At this point, it has ruined the entire game for me. There are other frustrations. I hate the lockpicking system. I wish stealth had some kind of on-screen indicator that helped in knowing if you are currently being seen or not. Something like Elder Scrolls, where they have the little eye that is open or closed, showing you that, yes, there is someone who can see you. Doesn't mean you'll know exactly where they are, but just something. Because there are plenty of times, too, where I would be trying to infiltrate a base. I thought the lead up to the siege on this particular camp was really cool in theory of scouting out this base, finding the best paths and ways to first enter it, and then trying to get into the base to see what they have. You can sabotage their arrows and their food to weaken them so that you'll have a better shot at taking less casualties when you attack them. I thought all of that was cool, but the actual doing of that was very frustrating because I swear I can barely see an enemy's helmet, but then they notice me, hey, what's that over there? And then they go check, and it's like, ugh. You could say that's realistic. Well, and you can even say that about the combat too. Realistic is something to strive for, I guess. And for some people, they're really going to like. But I think the vast majority are going to find it frustrating. And I would also say maybe, since you know the lockpicking system is a bit frustrating or can be frustrating, or not everyone's going to like it. So you offer a simplified version of it. Maybe do the same for combat. Maybe do the same for stealth. Maybe give people, it's all about accessibility. Realism is something to strive for. It can be cool, it can be immersive, but it can also be incredibly frustrating. And this is where accessibility options come into play. I think every single game should try and include as many accessibility options as they can, because all it does is open up the audience. It doesn't close the audience. It doesn't push any person away, except for the person who's like, oh my God, I don't like this being here because I can't stop myself from using it, even though I don't want to use it. I like it the way it is. Don't give me the ability to change it, because I will change it. I can't. I have no self-control. That person, too bad, I guess. But the combat especially, and following the main story, being in situations where I have to engage with it to progress, it has ruined the game for me in that I no longer care about the world, the story, the characters, or anything. I just want to get through the game. And like I said at the top of the show, I would have stopped playing this so much longer ago if I wasn't stubborn, if I wasn't streaming it. I'm not enjoying my time with this game. I am checked out of the story. I don't care anymore. I am not engaging with any of the side stories unless they're kind of tangentially related or will be along the way to a main quest. I'll do them, especially if they seem rather simple and I won't have to worry about combat. But what I wanted out of this game, to get immersed in this world, to just be in the world and explore it, come across things, really role play and all. I love that about these games. That's why I love the Elder Scrolls games. I like just being in these worlds. I love open world games because I like being in worlds and losing myself in them. I don't want to do that here because for all I know, I'll go on a quest, and with the save system too, there's no auto saving regularly. It just happens when you sleep and save in specific sleeping environments, or use the potion, which I've yet to use one of them, or when certain, I think just main quests, but maybe also side quests, whenever you get some kind of checkpoint within a quest line, you'll get a save too. You go report back to a character and tell them what happened. Then they'll give you your next assignment, save there, and so on. Because of that, it makes it so that I don't want to just explore the world and be in it and go do side activities, because if one of those scenarios leads to me running into or having to fight someone, but especially multiple someones, I'm just fucked. I'm going to die, and I'm going to lose however much progress I've made, however much I've done since the last save. And it could be a lot. It could be an hour. There was a point where something happened and I wanted to load my last save. I looked at it and it was from over an hour in the past. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're stuck with what just happened here, which is very, very frustrating because, again, I do think the story is interesting, even though you don't have as much agency as I would have liked in terms of how the story plays out. It's a very linear, guided, specific story they're telling for Henry. Again, you have the ability to shape Henry and his reputation so he could be more of a bandit, more of a ruffian that people don't trust, or you can be a trustworthy person. It depends on your play style and how you want him to be, who you want him to be. You can decide based on what the story is, the type of person you think he should be, if you really want to get deep into it and role play what you think would be an accurate version of Henry based on the events of the game. I'm, of course, being a relatively nice person, but I'm stealing shit because money is a rarity in here. And I want to, I'll also just lock big things of low level that I don't care about just to, increase that skill. I have stopped stealing food for the most part because I'm pretty good on money. I got maybe like 4,000 gold or so, and I'm pretty good there. I'm basically at this point just repairing what I have, not buying anything new, and I don't know what I'm going to spend my money on unless I come across a new scribe and they have a bunch of books I can buy and read really quickly and then sell back to them. I do that a lot every time I find a new scribe with a new inventory of books to increase that skill. But I'm just so checked out of the game, and it bums me out too because where I left off, the part of the main story that I just finished was me having to sneak my way in through. I got someone's right or whatever it is, their bill of passage, their entrance to the monastery. So I disguised myself as a monk and went in undercover to kill this character, this person, for a group of bandits. And I opted, of course, I wanted to not kill them. I wanted to hopefully find a more peaceful solution to get out without having to kill them. And we found a way to fake their murder and escape together. They're going to go off and do their own things. If I am able in this game to come across them and see what they're up to, that'd be cool. But I feel like you probably won't. However, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a continuation of the game. So there's no reading of your save. I wonder how that works out. If it's just there is a canon version of Henry for the first game, and that's what you get in the second. But it'd be really cool to run into that character in the second game, for instance, or later in this game, and shoot the shit. Say, what's going on? Hey, remember when I went undercover as Gregor in the monastery, and I was there to kill you, and then we said, hey, let's work together. I won't kill you. We'll fake your death. That was pretty fun, huh? But that whole mission, something that in general I don't like when games force you into a confined specific location and force you to stay there until you do your handful of objectives, especially since those so often are prison like scenarios where there are a lot of new rules and ways in which you can get caught. And then you get thrown into the brig, or here you get thrown into some little cave where they lock you in for 24 hours or so if you get caught by this one same stupid bastard. But I don't love those in theory, but the whole section, the whole mission of going in undercover and following your schedule as a monk, learning about what they're doing, how their order works. It's cool. It's a really cool idea. And I wish I cared more about the story and the characters and the game when I got there, because I think it could have been really fun to be immersed in that and want to play it out and explore that area a lot and see what was going on, do the whole detective thing of figuring out which of the other newcomers are, what do they call it? I can't remember, but the novices, I think. Which of them was the actual person you were looking for? I figured it might be this one character. Did a quick Google. It was. It said, okay, hey, I know you're this dude. And he's like, oh my God, you already know I'm this dude. And it's all because I just want to get through this game. I just want to finish it at this point. I don't want to engage with the story. I don't want to I don't want to do anything other than finish the game at this point. And it's because I hate playing it so much. And it sucks because again, I think as a game that is doing historical fiction, it's really well done. I like this world. I like being in it. I like the characters. The voice acting runs the gamut. There are some pretty bad voice acting, pretty solid voice acting, and a lot in between. But I like the characters, even if they might sound funny at times. I like the characters I've run into, important and unimportant. But I just am constantly reminded of how much I hate this game when it makes me attack someone, when it has me go on some mission where, okay, there are these 2 bandits or 3 bandits, go and get them. I'm like, God, why do I have to do this? If I didn't have Ulrich to tag along on that one mission and I still had to do the thing where I fought them and couldn't talk my way out, I'd be fucked. That probably would have been a brick wall where I just stopped playing it because I just let him do most of the work. And then I would sneak up behind someone. I had to redo that one for maybe 30 to 60 minutes as well. Anytime there's a combat thing that is forced upon me, it means I'm going to redo a section multiple times. And that has never changed. It will never change. So I am just at the point where I am ready to finish the game. I've had it. I want nothing more to do with it. I hope to God that the high review scores of the second game are indicative of it realizing its potential, of it refining everything that makes it frustrating in the first game. Because I'm not expecting a wholly new combat system, but I hope it's one that feels better, feels more satisfying, feels more complete, feels like I, what I'm most concerned about with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is, does the game make fighting against multiple opponents a more viable thing? And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who think Kingdom Come Deliverance, the first game, is perfectly fine and manageable fighting against multiple opponents. I think you're insane. I oh my God. I can't think of a game in recent memory that I've found combat-wise to be as frustrating as this. This is potentially one of the worst combat systems I've again, I feel like I can't say that about the it's just it's weird because I think it's a combat system that if you did nothing but one-on-one fights, it could be something that you get a handle on and get better at. But because so often I'm fighting against multiple opponents, I don't feel like I have the time to really get to learn it. The feint system, I feel like is very finicky. And even when I do get a feint on, there are just too many instances where I feel like I'm doing the things that are of a higher skill and yet they're still not working. And either I'm not doing what I think I'm doing or the AI is just too often too good at countering whatever you're doing. One or the other. And whether it be offering difficulty options so that you could lower combat difficulty so that the AI is dumber and opens itself up more to getting hit. Whatever you need to do to make it a more accessible experience, that's what I would like. I think of something like the difficulty system in System Shock, which has different difficulty levels for different aspects of the game. So that if you wanted to, you could set up, for instance, in Kingdom Come Deliverance, I want, and let's just throw out the usual 3 difficulties: easy, normal, hard. I want the stealth to be at normal. I want combat easy. I want lockpicking hard. I want so and so at normal, and go on for your various systems how you want it. I want the hunger thirst system to be blah blah blah. If you could get that granular with it, I think you could refine it and create the experience that is best for you. But there's nothing of that here. I don't know if that's in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That might be alone, if there is some kind of difficulty options in it or accessibility options, that alone might make it a much better experience for me. But as it stands, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 is continuing to frustrate the hell out of me. Not enjoying my time with it. Just want to be over and done with it. Hopefully I am close to the end. I don't know. But based on how long to beat, I should finish it next week. But we'll have to wait and see. If there's a 4th episode of this here, Attack the Backlog collection, you'll know it wasn't enough. But for now, that is going to do it for this episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to a monthly Q&A, a private Discord channel, along with some fancy Discord roles, and the random drop on the Patreon here or there, depending on your tier. Or you could just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci.